All right, let's start the meeting of the Cold Spring Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm the chair, Eric Worth. The other members present are Marianne Remy, John Martin, and Billy Fields. There is one item on the agenda tonight, and the applicant is here. Chris, you want to come up to the table and join us?
Absolutely.
The property is at 8 East Belvedere Street. And this is a workshop where we consider whether the application is complete and correct, and make sure, answer any questions about the process, and potentially set a public hearing date if everything's in order. So, why don't you start and just give us a brief summary of what you're looking to do?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you all for coming out this evening. I understand that although this is on the calendar every other week, it doesn't necessarily occur every other week. So I appreciate, especially on short notice, you being here. My name is Christopher Devine. My wife, Catherine Kreifels Devine, and I are moving to Cold Spring with our son Oscar. We currently live in Beacon. I'm originally from the Hudson Valley. On our second date, discussed where we would like to live in the world. And I said Cold Spring, New York. So she said the Berkshires, which would be lovely. But here we are. We are in contract to purchase a house at 8 East Belvedere, which is a to-be-built house, and it is approaching completion. And we are keen on, or we're seeking a zoning variance to build an 8-foot fence in the rear yard. The municipal code allows for the construction of 6-foot fences in rear yard, and 4-foot fences on side yards and front yards. The reason that we are seeking this variance is because there is an existing chain link fence between our property and the Haldane football field, or athletic field, call it, because it is a multi-purpose. And that fence is just shy of 8 feet. Okay, so at its highest point, it is, I think, 7 feet and 11 inches. So we're seeking an 8-foot fence that will clear the existing fence, and there are a handful of reasons for that, as outlined in the application. One of those reasons is privacy. The property is currently very visible from a very public place that is used not only by the school but also by the community. The second reason for that is to cover up the existing chain link fence, which I don't think I'll be offending anyone when I say has seen better days. And there are some photos, if you look in particular at the photos on the final pages of the application, that show the fence. The penultimate page shows some of the existing conditions. Just to give an idea about the sort of disrepair that the current fence is in. And then the third reason, and I thought about bringing the visual aid actually, but I forgot. Lacrosse balls. Okay, so lacrosse balls come from, so the builder has a collection now in the garage of this new house of lacrosse balls that have come through this fence. Now, some of them are coming under the chain link fence, and some of them are coming over. And so, in addition to privacy and to matching the existing conditions, that is actually a very real concern of ours, and something that we want to be mindful of. The fence that we are proposing is illustrated in the application. I can tell you a little bit of it. So it is in the second to last section of the application. And I realize it's not paginated. My apologies for that. This shows an elevation of the fence. Okay. And then this shows a comparable fence. This was this is unpainted cedar. We would be painting ours white. Our proposal is to paint the cedar fence white. The reason for the white fence is because it is strikes us as contextually appropriate. I understand that this is not part of the Cold Spring Historic District. Nevertheless, I'm an architectural historian and a preservationist, and I feel very strongly about speaking the vernacular. Okay, so we wanted to use materials that were consistent with the existing urban fabric. And so that is the reason that we chose a white painted cedar fence. It is not inexpensive to go with cedar, but it is far preferable to use cedar over vinyl. I understand that there have been other questions that have come up in the village of Cold Spring about the use of materials surrounding them. So again, even though we're not applying for a variance in the historic district, we nevertheless want to be mindful of that and mindful of our neighbors. It is unclear to us whether or not we also need a variance for the side yard. So the proposal, what we're proposing is an extension of the 6-foot fence that could arguably be considered part of the side yard. And the reason for that is twofold. One is because transitioning from 8 feet to 4 feet would look ridiculous. The second reason for that is that there is a pathway, which is also identified in the illustrations here and in the application. There is a pathway that students use to go to school. Now, whether or not the students are allowed to do that or should be doing that I don't know. But they do. And the pathway has been cleared. And so that actually is, although it's not paved, it is actually sort of in some ways kind of a public walkway. And so we want to establish some privacy there as well. So the 8-foot fence will wrap around slightly in the rear yard, and then we'll transition down to a 3.5-foot picket fence. And the 3.5-foot picket fence will go around the front of the property and will extend, I believe it's 25 feet from the front of the house, still leaving enough room for road work.
You need a variance for the 6-foot
Okay.
portion that extends into the side yard.
Okay. So
The
Did
side
you-
yard begins with the rear face of the house.
with the rear facade of the
So
house.
if you
Okay.
imagine a straight line
Sure.
drawn across that rearmost facade,
Yes.
where it intersects your eastern side boundary, that's where the side yard begins.
Yep.
So everything northward from there should be 4 feet or less, so where it's not.
So it's essentially this section from here to here,
Right.
which is probably about 6 or 7 feet of fence, maybe even less than that we would also be applying for a variance for. So that's 6-foot privacy fence. So we're going 8 feet, and I'm sorry, I misspoke before because I said it would be 8 feet transitioning. So it's 8 feet, transitions to 6 feet on the sides, and then would transition to 3.5 feet in the front. So this section right here is also a variance.
Where's the student pathway you mentioned?
I was gonna ask relative.
Great, yes, great question. So the student pathway is right here, okay?
Okay.
Um,
Relevant piece of information.
Yes.
It works in your favor.
yes. And that's, we imagine that that's how our son will be getting to school. We have no problem with the students unless it's deemed unsafe. So we think it's great. Look, we've made the decision to buy a house next to the school athletic field. Like we're very excited about being part of the community, but we also want to make sure that we have, a requisite amount of privacy. Yes, so that's where the student pathway is. And then on the other side, this technically is still the backyard. So this is in compliance with the with the village code.
Okay, so that'll be 6 feet on that side.
That will be
That
6
is
feet on that side.
no variance needed there
Yes.
for that part.
Yeah.
So it's okay, so it's,
So it's the purple section and a
Right.
portion, just a little portion of this pink section on the
Right.
right hand side.
Right, so is there a measurement that would indicate as you come across, is it straight across in the foremost back portion?
the way I read the code, yeah, it's, you draw a line, straight line across that rear facade, the rearmost facade,
Here,
Right.
correct? So,
basically,
so
yeah.
then we have to know these, numeric, if we're gonna be specific in
Oh, yeah.
explaining.
Yeah, it
Sure.
would be, just to be completely
Absolutely.
correct.
Yep.
At the public hearing, you don't
Yep.
need it now, but, at the public hearing, if you could tell us the exact dimensions, that where the variant is required in the side yard.
Sure.
Yeah, because this way, I mean, you're gonna be mentioning that in a final.
It'll be right covered in the decision.
Should it be the back line of the home or the back line of the garage?
Well, it's all one building, right?
It is all one structure.
Like, from,
That says, wouldn't it be from there?
yes,
That-
I think
right?
it would be.
So you're talking about a smaller.
That little X
That little,
seems
that
to,
teeny
That's what
tiny
that
little
is.
X.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So of course, in the Cold Spring Village Code, the illustration is a perfectly rectangular building, right? So the example illustration.
No, all buildings
doesn't
in Cold Spring
accomplish-
are
Yeah,
rectangular.
exactly, perfect rectangles.
On large lots.
So, but yes, I will get both measurements, okay,
yeah, the measurement to that first little X and
Right.
then that continuation, which you say will be maybe 6 foot
yes,
or 8.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You don't have an aerial. I'm gonna get my phone out. I wanna see the aerial view.
so
Okay.
you can do that. However, there used to be a lot of trees here.
Oh, so I'm not.
So you're not going to be able to see anything. 'Cause
Okay.
this was the 6 East Belvedere. This was originally part of 6 East Belvedere and it was subdivided. It was split into 2 lots. And then this lot was just sitting vacant with trees. Unfortunately, what happened was when the builder cut down the trees that needed to be cut down to accommodate the house, the remaining trees were visibly unhealthy. They hadn't received adequate sunlight and they posed an existential threat to the structure that was going to be built. We plan on replanting trees. I'm also a big believer in trees. So we plan on replanting trees and sort of reforesting, you can call it. And that's worth mentioning as well, that we don't imagine this just being sort of a stark white fence. We want to integrate it into the landscape. But as far as a Google aerial view, it's not, what you are going to find is not super instructive.
here's how the zoning code, chapter 134, defines the rear yard. It's the space on a lot between the rear lot line and a line described by the rear face of the principal building.
So that would be the back line, because it's all one building.
Yes, exactly. There's one principal building, so the back of the garage, if you draw a straight line over where it intersects the side, so
Yep.
you'll need to give us the measurement.
Sure.
And also the shape of the part over 4 feet, is it gonna slope, like, going from 6 down to 4? Will it be
Yes.
slope, will it be steps?
It will be a curve, but yes, I will get an illustration.
An illustration would be good.
Yes,
So we make a part of the record.
yes,
Now, the chain link fence is gonna stay or go?
it's not ours.
Or it's not yours?
It's on their side, the Haldane side.
Oh, it's Haldane's.
Part of it is, a little bit of it is on our property, but it's Haldane's chain link fence. I will say about the chain link fence, and I don't know who to bring this to, I'm actually concerned about it. From a safety point of view. And the reason I'm concerned about it, again, goes back to the lacrosse balls. I imagine someone getting a lacrosse ball lost, going down to get it, and they scrape themselves on this rusty fence, okay? And,
Well, you bring that to the school.
right, exactly. So I think that
And
goes.
you'll probably spare your fence a little bit from getting marred by Barrett.
Well, right.
Crossballs,
So-
I would keep it up.
No, I definitely think it should be kept up.
Plant poison ivy on the Haldane side, everything will be fine.
There is poison ivy
Yeah,
on
I-
there, yeah.
Yes.
So
See the problems in the future,
Yeah.
add them off.
I think that there absolutely should be a chain link fence there. I just think that the chain links could maybe afford to be replaced at some point. For safety reasons for the school, but that's not what we're here to discuss. And the
Yeah, and so the other thing is like, that there are no alternative, you know, the more mitigating circumstances that you could have selected, like for instance, set up a fence, shrubbery, or something like that, because you're looking for privacy.
Yeah, so, yeah, at the public hearing itself, that's one of the things we're gonna ask is, or the one of the things we're required to consider is whether there are alternatives you could turn to achieve your end without getting a variance. So you should be. You didn't,
Sure.
why you were forced to, resort to this.
A variance request, higher, but the chain link fence, I'm sure, was in part to allow airflow. You know, and as well as to protect, you know, sort of the school grounds, but, you know, it's like an open air thing as opposed to, you know, a straight square 8-foot wall. Because, I mean, how far is it from the track itself if you?
It's relatively far from the track.
Okay.
It's,
So
that-
it's
that
about
photo's
30,
actually-
40 yards.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So there's a decent amount of distance.
So it's not an issue.
And I think that I would say that there's a chain link fence there just because there's a chain link fence around the
Well,
entire
it's the
thing.
perimeter
Yeah,
of the
exactly,
school,
the
right.
perimeter of the school. That's typically what you find. And I think that previously this whole area was just sort of this, you know, covered up with trees and shrubbery and that sort of thing. So I think it went overlooked. As far as other steps we would take, or other steps we could take, you know, the alternative would be to plant very tall trees. We do intend to plant some trees which are illustrated here. And we do, and those trees will grow. But that is not going to provide us at the outset the privacy that we're looking for. And we're looking for privacy today, not privacy in 5.
It also looks like your backyard is relatively, or is not,
The backyard is very small.
so limiting the space for vegetation, but
Exactly.
that's something you can get into in the
Yes.
your fuller presentation in the hearing
Sure.
itself, because then the public will be.
Yeah, these are just examples.
Understood. No, this is super helpful.
Like I put a big 15-foot privet fence, a privet bush by my backyard,
Okay.
15 foot. So it's tough to cut, but,
How wide is, how thick?
well,
is
you know,
that?
over time, it'll expand out. So you have to cut it back a little harshly in the springtime, in order to, that it doesn't get too wide, too dense. And again, there is a limited backyard here. I don't see, again, there's no markings of,
There's dimensions, I think, on the other.
was there a survey?
There's a survey with dimensions.
Okay,
And it looks like it's around, we can get into this. but
yeah, these are all just points.
In the future.
What species, just out of curiosity?
It's, you know, I mean, there's a few different types of privet, but it's basically your generic, and it grows very rapid.
Okay.
It would take just 2 years for it to get to 6 feet to 8 feet, and then
Sure.
3 years easily to 8 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, it grows like, you know, grass. So, I mean, those are examples. The other thing is, I don't remember an application for, like, when do you think you're gonna close?
We will be the goal is to build the fence before we close.
Okay, so they're making an application, they are in contract, but the question is they don't really personally own the property yet. But the seller is not making the application.
Correct.
So what we would do is condition a grant, I would imagine, of,
Well, are you thinking that if we approve the application, then
before
the
he
sale,
owns it.
and then the sale falls
Right.
through?
Exactly.
The approval would carry with the property then, and the next buyer would be entitled to that variance. which, to have an application from a non-owner is not anomalous. The process allows for that. We have a letter here from the owner authorizing action by the,
That's true. Again, I don't remember us getting to this point before. The application is actually being made by the owner, current owner isn't really making the application. They're not really.
he's not, yes, correct. The applicant is a
Right.
future prospective buyer. But that, I don't think that, are you objecting to that?
I'm not objecting, I'm just bringing it up,
Right,
to think about.
okay, well, I don't know if it's,
I haven't seen it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's, in fact, our instructions cover that possibility by saying, if you're not the owner, provide a letter from the owner authorizing this move.
Well, then that's it. And our instructions, which are formally what our instructions are, right? I mean, it's something we approved,
Yes.
that therefore that's enough. Okay. Just making sure.
No, it's completely reasonable. It's none, I mean, there's no doubt that it's.
It's somewhat
slightly-
unusual.
It's like, it's definitely unusual. And, our goal is to keep this, everything moving.
Yeah,
forward.
the last thing I was gonna say is if the sale falls through, just say it did, right? I'm not sure if the granting of it would really run with the land.
I think that's always been one of the quirks of variances is that they do run with, that's one of the things the ZBA is supposed to keep in mind, which is if you grant a even if the property changes hands.
Yeah, but the fence won't yet be erected. Will it be erected?
What he said he wants to do it before the closing. It'll be actually the owner, the
Okay.
current owner, the developer.
just seeing
putting
how it
up
all
the fence.
He'll own the fence regardless.
Can take it with him if the
Yeah.
sale falls through.
I'm just saying, all these things that
Yeah.
never happen.
I have one thing I want, if you could, when you come back, I want to see the measurements further out from the back of your property, because an 8-foot fence is gonna look like a 6-foot fence, the way that property drops from the track to the
That's right.
house.
That's a good point.
But I'd like to see what the measurement is after this 128 line, because my belief is that, my belief is that you're gonna get a 129 line and a 130 line and a 131 line. Because I've been on this track.
Yeah.
And that rolls away.
It goes down, yes.
Yeah, so I'd like to see that, because I think that, at least for me,
Okay.
it makes me more amenable to a variance if I know that, for one, it's not gonna look 8 feet to
Optically.
begin with. Optically, it's gonna look like a shorter fence,
Right. Right, that's a great point, thank you.
See, all these little thoughts, I mean, and the reason why it's mentioned is that if it were granted, these are the things that would go into a final analysis and description of.
Of course, understood.
I think that the application is complete. All the required paperwork seems to be here. Is it, anyone disagree with that? Anything more you'd like to see other than what we've been listening?
No. I guess just other than the fact that the downsloping illustration of the site,
Exactly.
Is it clear
Oh, yeah.
that there's also a variance in this paperwork, that there's a variance needed for the side yard
I
fence?
think I need to add that. I don't think I.
I think it does need.
Right, I will put that in when I draw up the notice, public notice. I will include that.
Because I
Yeah, it's not really clear. In fact, it's not stated in the building inspector's referral.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we were
Yes,
confused,
yeah.
because we had raised it as a possibility when we submitted our initial application, and then it didn't come back.
Mhm.
There was no mention of the side.
It's only written as the year referral.
So that's
Year
why.
Yeah, I'll put that in the
You're right.
notice and it will
Okay.
come out in the hearing too. It'll be a small part of the
Is
hearing.
there a need to amend the building inspector?
No, I don't think so. It's not unusual to come out in the course of, I mean, even at the hearing itself, some new issue could come out, we cover it, and then it's fine.
Yep.
And that's part of the purpose of the workshop, is to draw out all the issues, make sure they're all on the table.
So reading the most recent email about, the PCNR and where to,
Oh,
where to publicize these, whether it's the current or now.
We have to,
Poughkeepsie.
we have to do the town crier now.
But now I found out why I don't no longer get the PCNR. It's always like, when am I gonna take that?
Yeah, just after 136 years,
oh my goodness.
Yes, it just,
you could start it up again if you wanted.
I think it went with Aqueduct Racetrack, which expired after 132 years.
What's happening?
On June 8th, yeah.
Okay, so, the next, we seem to have dealt with everything, and, there's no obstacle now to scheduling a public hearing,
Okay,
which is the next step.
sure.
And then at the hearing, you give your formal presentation, similar to what you just did, except everything you can have to say.
Of course.
Public will have the opportunity to speak or comment, and, now,
The mailings and the signs.
yeah, the soonest we can hold the hearing is 4 weeks from now. Because we're required to give the planning board a chance to comment, and they need 30 days to do that. So as much as 30 days. So that puts us into the September second Tuesday in September is the 8th, September 8th. Does that work for you? Are you available?
Tuesday after Labor Day.
Yeah, that's, I
Just
think
to be
the
clear.
Tuesday after Labor Day is probably not a
Yeah.
winning move.
Okay.
I mean, we can make this work. We can make that work, definitely, but
I mean, I'll be around. I'm just saying, like,
Yes.
there's gonna be a lot of people that won't be, but
Right,
Yeah. Yeah.
Back to school and everything.
yeah, right. Well, that's the other thing is that, I mean, my son starts school that day. I don't know, I think Haldane starts the same day as well.
Do you want to make it 2 weeks after that?
Yeah, unless that,
I mean, if you, I'm happy to do September 8th. If,
well, would it timetable in general if we did it the 22nd?
a little bit, those 2 weeks would be valuable. How long after
Sorry.
how long after the public hearing is, will there be a decision?
We might make a decision that night,
I see,
but
okay,
by law, we have 60 days after that.
understood.
But realistically, we've never taken that long.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hoping I'm not presenting you with something that requires 60 days of deliberation. It seems sort of very binary, but ideally, yes, September 8th would be preferable just in terms of the construction timeline. If that is not,
Well, that's a large part of it is whether we'll have a quorum.
right,
Billy will be here, I will be here.
I'll be
All right, so
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well then, really, there's no reason,
yes,
we can't do it on the 8th. And, so
that's what we'll do, right?
so I'll make a motion that we hold the public hearing for this application on the regular scheduled meeting on September 8th.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So, now, you have to do a couple things ahead of time. You'll have to post a sign in front of the property visible from the street. And you get that from the clerk. It has to be up at least 10 days before September 8th.
Mhm.
So you have time
Okay.
to get to that. And at the meeting itself, you will sign an affidavit saying that the sign had been there for 10 days.
yes,
Then you need to mail notices to, you have a list in your application of your neighbors who need to be notified, and it looked like a correct list to me. It seems like you've covered everyone. So you'll just mail certified letters, and I will email you the notice, the 1-page statement of notice.
okay,
That's what you'll print that, and that's what you'll mail.
okay,
And when I do that, which will be in the next couple of days, I'll also give you written instructions on how to do it.
okay.
What proof of mailing is required, et cetera. So,
Do I have to have the sign fabricated?
no.
Oh, okay.
It's a pre-existing sign, and you just fill in
Oh,
a
okay,
marker, I guess.
got it,
Marker, what it's for.
understood.
And the, let's see.
So there, and then, Marjorie, I will, the notice that I create in the next couple of days is for the legal, for the newspaper. The Poughkeepsie Journal, I guess, right?
Poughkeepsie Journal is at present
Yeah,
the legal paper of record, but we also post in the Highlands Current, even though we're unfortunately double paying at this time, because we know that local residents read the Highlands
Right.
Current. And so, in fairness, as courtesy to local residents, so they do get the information, which is the purpose of posting.
Is there a reason that the Highlands Current can't function as the paper of record?
It's,
Paper of record has to be has to have a paid distribution. And the Highlands Current is
Right.
operated as a nonprofit.
Understood. Okay.
There also has to be sent second class mail. It has to have circulation in the community.
that's all New York State law.
Yes, no, understood.
no further business, huh?
Any other business? No. Okay. Make a motion that we close the meeting.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Wow, that was difficult. First time in 6 months.
Yeah,
A little rusty.
Yeah.
No, Eric was.